What up, gang? Lane Carolina Jackpot time coming at you on Friday morning. I hope you guys and gals are doing well today. Hope you're doing better anyway. People are starting to finally, it seems like, get back to normal as much as you can on some stuff here. We've had power back for a day and a half in my house now, and I mean, it feels good for things to be normal again. And I apologize on my live show from Wednesday night if I seemed like I was bragging about getting power. I got that comment, don't brag because I still don't have power. Look, some people are going to get it before others. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, on Monday evening, I went down through another neighborhood and I saw some street lights on, and I saw somebody with lights on their porch. Lights on inside. It's all like, look at that, you're bragging, look, you got a lamp on, I see you reading. Some people are going to get it first, but we'll all get back somewhere. The more concerning part is getting this mess cleaned up. These trees, this damage to the homes, damage to the landscape. It's pretty bad. So, got a long road ahead of us. But we'll get there. I wanted to go over some college football games, a couple tonight, and then we got a list of games tomorrow. This is not the picks against the spread videos I used to do. I used to really enjoy doing those things when I would take the sheets of paper with the games listed on and do the picks against the spread and circle the winners. Kind of got out of doing them a couple of parts. Work schedules really wasn't allowing for it to be done anymore, and number two, it's just like everybody is doing it now. I mean, everybody who has a college football YouTube channel does that or something like that. But when I first started doing them, there were very few people doing that, or I couldn't find it anyway. But you know, I'm great at that, like starting up on an idea and then never really expanding it and then it blowing up somewhere else. But oh well. We got Syracuse going to UNLV tonight. UNLV is actually a 6.5 point home favorite. You've seen them knock off two power conference teams, one being on the road at Kansas, another one, Houston, which is a team that, I mean, they performed better when they were in the group of five. Anyway, Syracuse is catching 6.5 here on the road at UNLV. I mean, I got to tell you, I think UNLV wins this game. I don't know if I like them to cover that 6.5 though. Excuse me. I really think Syracuse keep close. I think we might be talking a field goal game, a 4-point game, something like that. I'm going to take the Qs here. I'm not real confident in it though. I didn't think Kyle McCord looked particularly good in the game against Stanford. I watched that whole game. Now, the Georgia Tech game, he looked good. But here we are, we see them going on the road. And their big wins this year have come at home. They being Syracuse, pronoun boy. UNLV is actually undefeated, I think. Yeah, they're undefeated. And favorites at home. But I think Syracuse covers that. But I would still think UNLV gets that win there. Michigan State's going on the road to Oregon. Oregon's a 20.5 point favorite. Oregon hadn't been really good at covering these high numbers like this. Their offense really hadn't gotten on track the way that we thought it would have. 20.5 points though, that little hook there. If this was over the 21 point mark, I might lean Michigan State. At 20.5 though, it would be a pass for me, or I'd have to lean Oregon. Vanderbilt and Alabama, that's on the Saturday card. Alabama is laying 23 points on the highway going to Vanderbilt. Look, Vanderbilt's been a good story this year. They've played hard, but this is just a totally different beast that they're facing here. They went on the road to Mizzou, played really well, punched them in the mouth, should have won the game, weren't able to quite pull it off. I mean, Alabama's just a much more physical team to me than Mizzou. They both have good offensive weapons. That physicality is what sets Alabama apart. They're 23-point favorites, and I heard this stat from one of the Las Vegas handicappers that is on one of the podcast / YouTube channels I listen to, an older guy who uses like databases on a lot of stuff to keep track of point spreads and trends and things. And you might say, well, those things are useless because when you change coaches and you blah, blah, blah. Well, hear me out, though. Since 2016, we're talking about a team that has come off of a win as a favorite in a game where it was two top 10 teams playing each other. The next week, when they're laying doubles, they've covered like 80-something%, like 82% of the time. So that's just some food for thought there. I know Vanderbilt's probably going to hang with them for a while. They're going to hang tough, but I think that Alabama probably gets this win here and probably wins it big. I'm looking like something like 41-14, maybe, something like that. Clemson at Florida State. Taters are a 14.5-point road favorite. I'm honestly surprised it's not a little bit more. Florida State will be going with the backup quarterback, Brock Glenn. DJ Uyunglele supposedly broke his finger, and people are acting like it's bullshit that he broke his finger. Maybe he really did. A lot of people are saying he's faking that so he doesn't have to play Clemson. I mean, they're like 1-4, 1-5. I mean, they've been sitting out here getting road graded every week. I mean, I don't think that he would be scared to play Clemson, other than the fact that maybe, yeah, it may be embarrassing to throw up a stinker against your former team, but has it not been embarrassing to throw up stinkers against Memphis? How about, was it embarrassing to throw up a stinker against Southern Methodist and lose by multiple scores on the road? And I think those are pretty embarrassing as well. I just don't see, now Clemson here's the thing about them. They've been on this cute little run the past few weeks where they've started to learn how to put some points on the board. And Cade Klubnik's looked, well, he's looked good. I was going to say he's looked serviceable, but he's looked pretty good. Now that said, against App State and NC State, they kind of let them back in the game late in it, but they gave up a lot of yards late in the game. It tells me you don't have great depth on your defense. Sometimes weird things happen with these bad teams like this, and but I don't know how I can really back Florida State here. It'd be Clemson or pass for me. This wouldn't be a game that I would personally have interest in betting. I did have interest in betting the Clemson-Stanford game. I knew they were going to cover the spread there because Stanford hadn't even get into town until Friday. But with the FSU, I mean, they can't run the ball particularly well, and that's where Clemson was susceptible last week against the Tree, was on the ground. So you've got a backup quarterback who's not very good. No running game to speak of. I don't know how you move the ball. And even if you decide to bring it and actually play well defensively, that's what Florida State can do. They can actually play well defensively at times. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. So I would either lean Clemson or I just would not play this one. Maybe I'd play a total or something there. Maybe Clemson team total over first half. They seem to be coming out of the gate pretty strong. But once again, it's a road game too. And I know that Florida State's probably not the most intimidating environment to play in these days. Clemson hasn't played a true road game this year. They played a neutral site game and 3 home games. I know what they're going to say. Well, we played it down and don't put it go to band. Well, still, it's considered a neutral site, Tater. Look it up. It's true. Cal at home against Miami. Cal is catching 10.5 at home against the Miami Hurricanes. A lot of people have this pegged as like an upset special type game. I don't know about Carolina Jackpot. I don't know that I have that. I'm starting to trust Miami a little bit more. Yeah, they kind of had a little bit of a stinker last week against Virginia Tech, but is Virginia Tech really that bad? If you took away the Vanderbilt loss and they had actually won that game, wouldn't your perception of Virginia Tech be a lot more positive than what it is right now? I think it probably would be. I think they've improved. That said, they got robbed the other night. With Miami, though, we're also looking at a very explosive offense. And, you know, if I'm Mario Cristobal, I'm taking this team out there, and I'm wanting to prove all these naysayers who are saying, well, this is the same old Miami team. He's going to fall apart. He's going to do something stupid. They're going to lose a game in some brutal fashion by doing something dumb. I think you're going out here to look to make a statement. And the thing with Cal is they've had, you know, the win at Auburn, I guess, was like the most impressive thing they've done this year. I mean, did they not lose to Florida State? And that's pretty embarrassing. They haven't faced an offense like this. Simply have not. I'll take Miami big. I think they roll them up. And I know it's a weird spot. It's a weird starting time. But if you're a good team, those things don't really tend to affect you as much. Arkansas and Tennessee. Tennessee at Arkansas. Tennessee laying 13.5 on the road. Look, this to me, this just screams one of those weird spots where the top 5 team maybe doesn't go down, but gets a huge scare against an unranked opponent. Arkansas are 3-2. They've been in the 2 losses that they had against Oklahoma State and Texas A&M. Quite frankly, should have won both of them. Sam Pittman's job is still on the line. I don't think this guy is out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. And you got to think that he knows that this would be a huge feather in his cap if he wants to stay around for a while in Fayetteville to get this win against Tennessee. I think for some reason here that it can be done. I don't really trust Arkansas's defense all that much, but if they have a good game, if they have a good game plan here in this Nico, I mean, he hasn't faced, I don't think, real consistent pressure for 4 quarters. I mean, Oklahoma was, I don't know about them. I think Arkansas would beat them. I just think that this quarterback, Taylor Green, this running back, this Jackson at Arkansas is going to give this Tennessee defense, which is supposedly vaunted, a dynamic they haven't faced this year. This is the best offense Tennessee will have faced all year by far. Oklahoma, no offense. NC State, no offense. The other 3 teams they've faced, a joke. Or the other 2, however many it was. I'm going to go on ahead and lay those points here with Arkansas. I think they keep this game close. I don't know that they win, but I think that they cover that 13.5. I think it's just simply too much. Pitt on the road at UNC. Pitt is 2.5-point favorite on the road at North Carolina. Is this a bounce back spot here from Mack Brown and the Tar Heels? Or have they really just been punched in the face that much that they can't recover? You know, they were up big on Duke last week, allowed them to come back and win the game 21-20. Pitt's sitting here undefeated. And I look at a lot of these games and I say, how long is this team going to stay undefeated for? And they're just really situational spots. Pitt might be a better team. I think they go on the road. I think UNC drops a loss on Pitt. I like UNC in this one. In fact, I might actually bet this one. I'm confident in that. I think UNC gets that win there. I think Mac Brown gets the team right. You'll see this sometimes. Bad teams that have been good sometimes will get things back together for a game or two, and then it kind of goes back to shit again. I like North Carolina. Mizzou on the road at Texas A&M. Texas A&M a 2-point home favorite. This is the game. This one I feel the least confident about of any of the games that I'm talking about here. I cannot. It's hard to pick a side here. I'm gonna, for this purpose, I'm gonna back Mizzou because I think Mizzou is a better team. I think they have more explosive athletes. I think they have a better quarterback. But you're playing on the road. And this Marcel Reed guy for Texas A&M, he's played okay. Starting to build a little bit more confidence. I still just don't think overall that Texas A&M's really that good. But then again, either one can win this game. It's so coin flip. It's scary. But I'm going to take Mizzou there. They may win by a field goal, 4 points, something like that. It's probably going to be a slower paced game too. This one may be, kind of like the pace of the Vanderbilt Mizzou game here. Mizzou's they're not putting up a bunch of points against these teams that play these muddied up offenses and slow a game down like a Texas A&M. Excuse me. UCLA at Penn State. Penn State laying 28 at home. Do you trust James Franklin to cover 28 points? I don't know that I do. We saw UCLA go on the road last week, covered against Washington. UCLA not very good. UCLA has scored like 7 touchdowns the entire season, I think was the stat I heard. That is awful. I mean, I could see this being 31-7, 34-7, both of which don't cover that 28. So I'm going to lay this one with the Bruins going on the road to Happy Valley. Penn State coming off of a pretty emotional win, pretty big win, a ranked win over an Illinois team where I think they feel like they've kind of got out of there and were able to get that win. That pick 6 there at the end kind of sealed it. They have a pick 6 at the end. I can't remember. They scored late. They almost covered against Illinois. I watched that one, but I was a few beers in. Auburn on the road at Georgia, 22.5-point favorite. Georgia's 22.5-point favorite. I'm telling you that in our contest, the line was 24.5, and I took Auburn. That hook was what made the decision for me one way or the other. I think Georgia will start slow, but I think Auburn won't start at all. And this is a game where I could see Georgia getting into the 30s and Auburn scoring maybe 7. Give me the Dogs at 22.5. If it goes above that key number of 24, I would lean Auburn. Because I think Georgia will start slow. Therefore, I don't think they're going to traditionally blow them out. But I don't think it's not going to be a competitive contest either, if that makes any sense. Rutgers going on the road in Nebraska. This is going to be a sneaky good game here if you like smash mouth football. kind of like military school style football, but not military school. It's almost like a Iowa Rutgers or a Iowa Nebraska matchup. Low total. Nebraska 6.5 point favorite on the road. I kind of like Rutgers here. Rutgers played good football. Nebraska has been playing pretty good football as well. They're coming off, what, a 28-10 win on the road at Purdue. Well, they were up actually 28-3 late and allowed that touchdown at the end. Rutgers, though, big win at home against Washington over last weekend, last Friday night. That one might think that this could be a letdown spot. However, I think when you got a good coach like a Greg Schiano, I think that you don't see as much of that stuff, the letdowns. I think they'll play hard in the ensuing games. They'll play solid and physical and mistake-free in the ensuing games. I like Rutgers here. I like the road underdog against Nebraska to cover that spread. This will be an interesting game, and it'll be a good game. Well coached too. You got two good coaches there, Greg Schiano and Matt Rule, going at it. Last one, I've got Duke on the road at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is now, it looks like a 9.5 point favorite. Why is Georgia Tech favored by 9.5? I mean, they've lost to Syracuse, they lost to Louisville. Granted, they probably could have won either one of those games, but they had too many mistakes there. Duke is undefeated, and I know the wins haven't been over the most impressive of foes, but they showed some guts last week against UNC. Came back in the second half and smashed them with a billy club, that 21-20 win. You got to give the experience nod here to Manny Diaz. I think that's too many points. I think Georgia Tech is a little overrated, and I think Duke's probably a little bit undervalued. That Malik Murphy, the transfer from Texas, has been playing well for them. So I'm going to lean Duke in this game. I don't know that they necessarily get the win. This is another one of those teams that is undefeated that's probably going to suffer their first loss because it's got to come at some point. It has to come at some point. But I'm going to lean Duke here to cover against Georgia Tech. So those are the ones that I had broken down to talk about. There's one other one here that I didn't write down to talk about that I actually bet on the money line, that being Indiana on the road at Northwestern. Northwestern, I think when I got it, was a 13.5 point underdog against Indiana. I think Northwestern upsets them and wins the game outright. Indiana is undefeated. Granted, they haven't played the best of competition. At some point, though, these undefeated teams like that, they have to stub their toe against someone that you wouldn't think they're going to stub their toe against. Okay? It can't always be the case of, well, we run through we're not supposed to be here where we're at, and we're going to run through this thing undefeated till we play Ohio State or something. No. These teams normally stub their toe against, I'm not going to call them a nothing burger because Northwestern's not a terrible team, but they're not as good as Indiana, especially offensively. But I do think they strike the upset here. So those are my picks against the spread on a few of these games that I'm interested in. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. What a fault. What a fault. I almost forgot. Gamecocks versus Ole Miss. Gamecocks are currently catching 8 at home against Ole Miss. This has been bet. It was opened at 8, and it was bet up to 9. Now it's been bet back down to 8. A lot more of the public money is coming in on South Carolina, and the line is also moving as well. So that tells me some sharp money's coming in on the Gamecocks as well. Gamecocks plus 8. I like the Gamecocks in this one. I like our chances here. I I like our chances really good to cover. I don't know that South Carolina is going to be able to win this game. I just think offensively Ole Miss is deeper than what South Carolina is. The Lenora Sellers, Rocket Sanders situation with the ankles, I don't know about. They were in walking boots the last time we saw them, but that's been 2 weeks ago. Which Lenoris didn't even. So Lenoris hasn't played in 3 weeks. Is he going to be rusty? Probably so. And then they're listed as questionable on the depth chart. Look, Lenoris' ankle injury was 3 weeks ago. He was in a walking boot, but I mean he was walking around. And I hate to sound like always bitching, but I mean dadgum. I mean, how long does it take to get over that? I mean. Deshaun Watson beat the Gamecocks with a torn ACL. How long does this take? We really need this guy to be healthy. And this may just be some smoke and mirrors type shit. He may just be putting that out there to kind of troll Lane Kiffin, which Lane Kiffin deserves to be trolled, every ounce of which he is trolled, because he does nothing but troll other individuals. He's immature, a dick. I don't like him, and it would do me tremendous good to see us hang a fat L on his ass on Saturday. And I'm not so. It's not so much about Juice Wells. I just don't like Lane Kiffin's a smart ass. I don't like him. I haven't liked him for a long time. I used to like Juice Wells at one point, so whatever. And Juice Wells has been largely ineffective this year. But as I stated earlier, I don't care if Juice Wells goes out and scores 3 touchdowns if we win the game 28-21. I don't care. You need to make sure you shut Trey Harris down, or at least limit Trey Harris. You need to get pressure on Jackson Dart. You need to do the other things that go into winning a football game, other than worried about shut Juice Wells down. And hopefully, our players are focused in on that. I think this is more of a fan thing than it is a player thing. And also, I've been thinking a lot about that LSU loss. I went back the other day and watched the old Matt Moscona rant, the little bald-headed guy with the little close-shaved beard that works for ESPN 104.5 out of Baton Rouge and Thibodaux, Louisiana. And I watched some of the stuff where he was going off on some other teams, and it actually was kind of funny, but don't tell nobody that. Anyway, looking back at that loss may be the best thing that could have happened to South Carolina this year, because in that, I think that taught this, maybe not the players, but it taught the coaching staff a lesson. And make no mistake about it, just because you're coaches and you've been with, like Shane Beamer, you've been in the coaching game for over 20 years. You've been Clayton White, you've been coaching for 15 years. Torian Gray, been coaching for 10 years. However long these guys have been coaching. I think you're always evolving. I think you're always learning new things. And I think one of the things that they may have learned the other Saturday was, when you've got a good team on the ropes, you don't take your foot off the gas. And that's what South Carolina did. They took their foot off the gas about midway through the second quarter when they were up 17-0, and just kind of thought, well, we're going to coast from here because we got this. I think that's what the mindset actually was. And it was a silly mindset to be in. Had South Carolina been up 24-0, 28-0. No, that wouldn't have been 28. If they'd been up 24-0, 27-0, 27-7, it would have made things a lot harder for LSU to come back from. Because a coach like a Brian Kelly sees a 17-0 deficit and knows he can come back from that. And he makes the adjustments to come back from it. You got him down 27-0. You got him down 24-0. Maybe the mindset's a little different. Maybe they go into a damage control mindset. So I think that win, or that loss, may have been actually a good thing, because it may have made these coaches a little bit stronger in terms of that. Just something I'm throwing out there, trying to find a little bit of silver lining in that dark-ass cloud. Anyway, those are some picks I've got for this weekend, guys. Let me know how you feel down in the section below. Please feel free to get down there and tell me how Tennessee's going to prison rape Arkansas by 40 and everything else. And I'll see you guys later on. Have a good day. I appreciate you. Go Gamecocks. Woo!